DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health. By integrating the comprehensive animal health product portfolio of Merck Animal Health with the innovative technologies of All-Flex Livestock Intelligence, we are shaping the future of animal health, resulting in more effective solutions and healthier animals.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm glad you joined us today. We're going to have a show talking about weaning, and it's something that we go through with our calves every fall. It's a very stressful time for the calf and the cow, so stay tuned. We're going to learn more about some different methods that work and maybe don't work so well.
Bovolus Nasalgen 3 offers young calves unrivaled protection against devastating respiratory diseases, including IBR, PI3, and BRSV. And it has a unique blue shadow, so there's no second guessing which animals have been vaccinated. To up your protection, choose Bovolus Nasalgen 3 PMH, the first and only intranasal that protects against viral and bacterial pneumonia. Talk to your veterinarian and visit nasalgen.com to learn more.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson, and I am a veterinarian, owner and partner in production animal consultation, where we see cattle all across this country. Also a professor at Iowa State University, and today we're going to talk about something that I have worked with all my career, and that's weaning calves. Sometimes we get calves at the feedlot that are bawling, and they're very, very difficult. They're walking, they're looking for mom, they're not settled down. We get these calves that have been properly weaned, properly managed prior to coming to us. They know what a feed bunk is, they know what a water tank is, they've been vaccinated, castrated. They have decreased morbidity, decreased mortality, improved performance, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is how do we get those calves prepared and what are some of the best ways, because our industry is so different than other industries. You think about the swine industry, where the mom's with the piglets in a farrowing crate, and there's really not that interaction because we want to keep the mom separated from those piglets, but they're in there for 21 to 28 days. A dairy calf is pulled away from its mom the first day. The chicks and poultry and turkeys, they come in a box on day one after hatching. But we take this cow and this calf, and we ask that cow to do a job. We have that cow out on the pasture, and we say, hey, we would like you to raise this calf, protect this calf, feed this calf, take care of it, and teach it, right? Teach it how to work within our pastures and within our systems to weather storms and to fight off varmints and different things to that nature. And we ask them to do that for 7 months. And they form a bond. They form a maternal bond with the calf and the calf with the mother. So then, with this strong bond, when we go to wean that baby, it's a very stressful time, or can be a stressful time, on the baby and on the mother. And preconditioning these calves and different types of maternal separation. Maternal separation is just a part of preconditioning, and preconditioning is so important to our industry. And you think about just abrupt weaning and just taking that calf off the cow. There was a point in time where I was a school board member at Riley County Schools in Riley, Kansas, and I went into our principal, Brad Starnes, who's superintendent, and I said, I want to make an impact. I'm a new school board member, and we do some things in the beef industry that I think can really help the school system. And he says, well, what do you got in mind? And I said, there's two things that a kindergartner has to have before they can come to Riley County Schools. They got to have a record of immunization, and they've got to have a Social Security card. And I think we can do some things like we do in the beef industry that can really decrease the paperwork, improve the efficiency. First thing we're going to do is get rid of kindergarten roundup. There's no need for those kids to be acclimated to their environment prior to getting there. They don't need to know who their caregiver is, or where the lunch line is, or where the bathroom is, or where the water fountain is. They just need to have, we'll have mom and dad tell them on the way to kindergarten on the first day. We'll have blacktop kindergarten roundup, kind of give them the gist of what's going to happen. Now, when those kids get to the school on the first day, and the flatbed pickups and the minivans and the Suburbans start pulling in, we're going to have a group of us there at the front door, and we're going to run out. We're going to grab the kindergartner. We're going to run back in, and we're going to shut the door quick. And the mom's going to be outside, and the kid's going to be inside. Now, there's going to be, we call that abrupt weaning. There's going to be some bawling and bellering outside. There'll be some bawling and bellering inside, but don't worry about it. It'll subside in 2 or 3 days. Now, on the immunization, don't do it prior to. We'll just vaccinate them at arrival on initial processing, like we do in the beef industry. Cuts down on paperwork. And so what we'll do is we'll kick the kindergartners up to the end of the hallway on that first day after we get them. Now, we got 51 kindergartners this year. We got 3 classrooms. That's 17 head on a 3-way split. We're going to bring them back one by one, vaccinate them there on arrival. We'll kick them into their classroom and commingle them with a bunch of other little kids that they don't know. And the good news is we'll only expect about a 4 to 6% death loss. Think about it. It's what we do every day in the beef industry. I'm really, really passionate about preconditioning, very passionate about preparing these calves for a change of address. Thanks for watching the show.
We see you, working hard from the early mornings to the late nights and every hour in between. We see you. We see the pursuit, the desire, the effort, the hope, the goal of being a champion. And we see that you need a partner to keep your animals healthy and happy. With our countless products and quick and reliable shipping, together, we can do just that. To the cowboys and cowgirls, to the dreamers, we see you.
Success in the cattle business hinges on a lot of different people playing their part. From the vet to the cowboy and the nutritionist to the feed truck driver, you rely on them to get their job done right, and so do your cattle. Your expectations for the vaccines you use should be no different. Bimeta's cattle vaccines were developed and are made and sold by men and women in the cattle business. No smoke and mirrors, just real-world protection that you can rely on. Go to BimetaBiologicals.com to learn more.
ValleyVet.com is your one-stop shop for your every animal need. From prescription meds, vaccines, equipment, and more for the ranch to the show ring. Shop ValleyVet.com for fast shipping and great prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson, and I'm glad you joined us. We're going to talk about weaning, and really what we're talking about is maternal separation. And the first thing to the discussion that we get are what are some of the things that we can do in the pasture that might decrease the stress of weaning. And one of them is we got to teach these calves how to eat. So what we've seen in this drought is a lot of cows will start to decrease in their milk production, and they'll actually wean the calves themselves. And when they can't produce enough milk, those calves will start eating grass. And we've seen a lot of self-weaning during this drought time. But when we have plenty of grass and some things that we can do, 20, 30 days prior to weaning to get these calves acclimated to eating, one of them has been creep feed. And there's been debates for years and years and years about, putting the creep feed out for those calves and versus, but if we don't have a dry lot situation where we can take those calves and put them in there and precondition them, which means take them away from the cow and put them on feed at the home place for 30 days or 45 days or 60 days, whatever it is. One of the things that could really benefit these calves at weaning time is just creep feeding them and advertising that they've been creep fed, because that helps me understand as I buy them that they've learned how to eat out of a bunks, at least some of them, right? And there's some research out there that shows that calves that are creep fed do a little bit better, morbidity-wise, mortality-wise, and behaviorally when they get to the feed yard, because they do know that they can go consume some dry feed. Another thing that we debate or have a lot of discussion about, especially during drought time, is what age I can wean them. And we see in the dairy industry where we put these calves on the bottle for 35 days and then we convert them to starter ration, and then from starter ration to a grower ration. Okay, and this is 35-40 days, and studies that have been done looking at weaning calves at 55 days or looking at 100 days or 180 days have shown that when we wean those calves earlier, there are some issues that occur post-weaning that maybe aren't as good. And there is a docility by early wean interaction, meaning that calves that are more docile will have an easier time at an earlier weaning. But there's more psychological stress and behavioral stress when we wean these calves early off of the mother, because they haven't been trained, they haven't started browsing, they haven't started eating. And the more docile they are, the better they handle the early wean. But the longer they're on the cow, the better those calves are behaviorally when they come to the feed yard, and also the better they are on some of the bad habits. And the big one is cross suckling. Okay, early weaned calves tend to have more of an issue with cross suckling when they get to the feedlot. And what does cross suckling, why is that a negative? Because if we have a bunch of heifers in a pen in a feed yard and they cross suckle, that suckling activity can actually stimulate some of these heifers to bag up and lactate. And it's something that when they then go to slaughter, that we have issues at the time of slaughter. And so really, early wean is only an emergency situation. Creep feed can be somewhat of a substitute for preconditioning those calves in a dry lot. When we come back, we're going to talk about two-stage weaning. You're watching DocTalk. I'm glad you joined us.
When a new calf hits the ground, the clock starts ticking. A belly full of colostrum gives them their best chance, but if they don't get any, time starts running out. That's when you grab a bag of Oxford Ag Colostrum in their patented feeding system. It's simple. You fill it with warm water, shake it to mix, feed it with a tube or a nipple, and you are done. No bucket, no bottle, no mess, and right on time. Ask for it by name wherever animal health supplies are sold.
I'm Dr. Les Anderson. I'm a beef extension specialist at the University of Kentucky. The Alertus on-farm test has the opportunity to completely change the industry. A producer is enabled and empowered to be able to take the sample and run the test or tests at their leisure without scheduling anybody. And honestly, reproduction is the thing that we measure the least, and it's the thing that dictates profitability the most. The Alertus on-farm test will help us to identify cows that get pregnant early. It'll improve our efficiency tenfold.
ValleyVet.com is your one-stop shop for your every animal need, from prescription meds, vaccines, equipment, and more for the ranch to the show ring. Shop ValleyVet.com for fast shipping and great prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson. We're going to talk about some ways to do the maternal separation. And one of them that people have tried in the past is what we call a trainer animal, right? And I can just tell you from the research that's published out there, trainer animals are not effective, meaning that they take a yearling and put it in with the calves and let the calves, thinking that the calves would watch the yearling and learn how to eat out of the bunk and not miss mom as much, right? And it's kind of like a guidance counselor, I guess, at a church camp or something to that nature. But we did that once. We took a bunch of high-risk calves that came in bawling. We put a Holstein in the pen. There was a big Holstein with them, thinking that Holstein would train those calves. And we were all excited the next morning. We came in and we found that Holstein, the calves trained him. He was walking and bawling with the calves rather than him training the calves. So trainer animals, not effective. So then we have two other methods that have been talked about a lot in the literature. One, and they're both two-stage, and one of them is a nose flap. And as you can see here in the picture, that's a nose flap that goes into the nose of the calf that doesn't allow the calf to nurse, but we can leave the calf with the cow. And so the calf learns how to graze grass and not have the maternal separation and the need to learn how to eat going on at the same time. The second one is fence line weaning, where we will put the cows and the calves and just put a fence line between them so they can still communicate, but the calves are on their own and the cows are on their own, but they can still see each other through the fence. So the research on the nose flaps is mixed, to say the least. And one of the things about the nose flaps is that if you leave them in too long, it causes sores on the noses of the calves. And so I think that's one of the biggest negatives of the nose flaps. So when we look at nose flaps and nose flap weaning, the research that's out there that's been published in the multiple papers, very few of them, when you leave the nose flaps in for 17 days or whatever, show any kind of positive results. The thing is nose flaps, you should never leave them in longer than 4 to 5 days. And so if you're going to try that type of situation, that would be the best scenario, is put the nose flaps in 4 to 5 days, then pull the calves or separate the cows and the calves at that point in time. When we look at two-stage weaning with fence lines, what we'll do is we will put the calves in the fence next to each other, and the research there has been more positive on a two-stage weaning, where we leave those calves next to their mother for 7 days is about what the right amount of time, and allow them to still have that interaction, and the results there are much more positive. When you look at the Journal of Animal Science and you look at fence line weaning, one of the things that is apparent is that there is a time factor opposite of what we see with the nose flaps of maximum amount of time. But if you're going to do the fence line weaning, you need to do it at least longer than 72 hours, okay? If you do it for 72 hours or less, those calves, there's no effect, matter of fact, negative effects of fence line weaning compared to just abrupt weaning and moving the calves off to a dry lot. For the most part, it looks like from the published research is you leave those calves there 7 days, then separate. We have seen some positive responses in improved performance, improved health, and that from fence line. But at the end of the day, I'll be honest with you, the research on the two-stage weaning, whether it's nose flap or fence line, the jury's still out. We still probably have more things that we can modify and learn. But the one thing that has been evident is that docility matters. The better docility you have in your herd, the better you have regardless of the weaning method you use. We're going to come back to DocTalk. Thanks for watching today.
We are a start to finish yard, bring them in at 500 pounds and finish them out to 14 to 1,500 pounds. Max capacity is about 15,000. We begin with the end in mind, which that means it starts from day one coming off the truck. Heard all sorts of stuff about the generics coming out from, a few different companies here and there, but we started working with Bimeda. What I like about working with Bimeda is our rep. He seems like he's just one of us. He knows, he's been in the cattle feeding industry for a long time. He understands where we're coming from, what goes on in the feed yard. So we started implementing Macrocin last July, and we're using it as our first poll treatment. The data shows that success rates on BRD, they're equivalent to the other macrolides that we were using. We just feel fortunate enough, I guess, to get our hands on it, and it works great for us for a first poll treatment. It's what really jumped out to us working with Bimeda, meeting with the rep. Macrocin's affordable. We finally got a product that everybody can afford. We try to do the little things right, whether it's from low stress cattle handling, animal welfare, how we work with the cattle every single day. you know, that's something we really focus on. But when you've got a product like a Macrocin, it's just another assurance protecting you, controlling your BRD from what stressors are thrown out there or what Mother Nature is going to bring to you. This industry, it takes everybody, whether it's working with the nutritionist, it's cowboys working with the veterinarians. Everybody plays a part, and we expect them to do their jobs, but also we expect, you know, the drugs or what we put into the cattle to do their job too. And I think these Bimeda products, they're proving that they're doing the job for us.
ValleyVet.com is your one-stop shop for your every animal need, from prescription meds, vaccines, equipment, and more for the ranch to the show ring. Shop ValleyVet.com for fast shipping and great prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson. We're talking about weaning. So, regardless of how we separate them, whether it's two-stage, early wean, abrupt weaning, there comes a point in time these calves are in a dry lot and we got to feed them. Okay? So the question I get a lot of times is, what do I put in that weaning ration? So when those calves come in, the first thing is I like to use cereal grass hay or something that first 2 or 3 days when they come in, and I allow those calves to consume some hay. I'll put some milled ration or one ration on top of that hay. And my one ration, my weaning ration, that starting ration for receiving calves is going to be about 60% concentrate. So 60% corn, 40% hay. I'm going to have 14% crude protein, which really hasn't been a problem because we feed a lot of distillers today. And that's 30% crude protein. But if we don't feed distillers and we have a corn hay based ration, we're going to want to use a natural protein like soybean meal, cottonseed meal, something to that nature, because these calves don't have that functioning rumen yet, okay? So we don't want to feed non-protein nitrogen like urea, because the microbes aren't there yet to really have an effect. And when you look at the research by Gallion, by different people that have looked at receiving calf rations, we want to be 60% concentrate, 40% roughage, 14% crude protein, and we want it to be a natural protein source that will allow the calf to get the proper nutrients. A calf that is newly weaned versus one that's been on feed, they don't have different requirements, they have different intake levels. And the calf that's stressed will have a decreased intake, so we have to fortify that ration more. As they come up on intake, we can decrease some of the percentages of crude protein and things to that nature. But at this critical time of that calf being weaned, it's not a time to skimp. So what are some other things that we look at in that starting ration? We will look at our vitamin E levels. When you look at some of the work by Dave Sechrist down at Oklahoma State, we want to be at 1,600 international units of vitamin E a day on these calves consuming it, which is 4 times the NRC, because vitamin E is very important to the immune system, very important to the antioxidants to decrease oxidative stress within the animal. Vitamins or minerals that we will look at are obviously the ones that the selenium, copper, zinc are big ones that we're going to look at that have huge impacts on antioxidants and decreasing stress. So those are ones that work with your nutritionist. Make sure that you have the proper level in that receiving ration. And so the last thing I'll say on weaning calves is acclimation. The sooner we can decrease the stress between you and the animals, the better. Having those animals understand that you're a caregiver, that they crave attention from you as you come out into the pen, will decrease the amount of stress when they go to the feedlot and they see a pen rider or they see a human being, understanding that that's not a predator, that that's someone there to provide them care. Docility matters. If the cattle don't trust humans, they don't show clinical signs, and if they don't show clinical signs, we can't find them when they're sick. So trust, building trust, providing proper nutrition, proper maternal separation. We didn't even talk about the vaccines. We didn't even talk about the dewormers, because when it gets down to it at the end of the day, husbandry is what matters, and taking care of these cattle that take care of us is so important. That's why I love what I do. I love being a part of this beef industry. I love being a veterinarian, and I love doing DocTalk. Thanks for watching. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian. And if you want to find out more about what we do, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson here in Central Iowa, and I'll see you down the road.
DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health. By integrating the comprehensive animal health product portfolio of Merck Animal Health with the innovative technologies of All-Flex Livestock Intelligence, we are shaping the future of animal health, resulting in more effective solutions and healthier animals.
When you spot BRD in your cattle, that's your golden opportunity to target infection and its associated fever with a single dose of Resflor Gold, the industry standard dual therapy. To learn more, talk to your Merck Animal Health rep or your vet and see label at resflorgold.com. Animals intended for human consumption must not be slaughtered within 38 days of treatment. This product is not approved for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows.
When the ones who have your heart need your help, count on us for everything they deserve, delivered fast. We'll work hard for you so you can work hard for your dreams.